Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Brady. It is mosquito season and West Nile virus is the leading type of disease carried by mosquitoes across the continental United States. And in fact, we have at least one case of a resident of Farmers Branch infected with West Nile virus. As you may know, most people don't display symptoms of West Nile, but there currently are no vaccines or medications. So it is a serious concern for the city of Farmers Branch. That's why our city's public health department is so forward-focused, identifying mosquitoes that carry the disease and then spraying the infected areas. And this time of year, it is a full-time occupation.
Mosquito season really starts probably in May. It'll last through October for us. The first couple months are really when the rains start occurring. We get this influx of mosquitoes, but most of those are nuisance. The public health concern there is pretty minimal to low. It's times like this where now the rains have stopped that become a bigger concern. That's why we're starting to see some of the spikes in terms of the West Nile cases, which you didn't see if you go back to the numbers in May and June. We contract out the mosquito surveillance service. So a company this is on a weekly basis. They have a trap set out there. It's set up with stagnant water to attract mosquitoes. Once a week they go out and collect all the traps, and those are transported to Dallas County, and Dallas County provides the analysis. So they're looking at the mosquitoes, testing them for West Nile. That's done every week, basically from beginning of May till October.
When we're talking about West Nile, which is what we're talking about this time of year and with our testing on a typical basis, we're trying to catch a particular type of mosquito called a Culex quincunfasciatus. That is the primary carrier of West Nile. And so we're going to test in a specific way based on a specific type of trap to attract that mosquito. That's our most efficient way of detecting West Nile. There are other types of mosquitoes that will carry different types of diseases, but when it comes to West Nile, it's typically a Culex mosquito, and it's typically only one or two species here in North Texas.
In terms of the other chikungunya, Zika, should a human case occur, we don't test for that in the traps. It's based on human case. When those happen, we would take, again, a target approach, look and see where the person lived. Again, going around looking at where's water available, what could be the source of these particular mosquitoes, and then doing more targeted spraying.
What we're aiming for with the trap is we want to attract a mosquito, a female mosquito who has just had her blood meal, be that from a bird or a human or another animal. They're looking for some place to lay the eggs. What we have here with our gravid trap is the ideal environment for a gravid mosquito that needs to lay her eggs. And it's that environment that we're able to trap that mosquito and bring it in for testing. We'll set the traps typically in the afternoon to late afternoon. We'll retrieve the trap in the early morning so that we're getting both twilights. And typically that's going to be when they're very active. They'll be active other times, but that's when they will be active, and that's when we're going to have the most success in trapping them. So our technician will come pick up the trap. The key piece of the trap that they need is the net which holds the mosquitoes, which is trap the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes will go to a laboratory where they are speciated, where they're separated by species, and then sometimes in a second location, they'll be PCR tested for disease. What we do know is that if the disease is present, and if the water habitats decrease because there's less rain, then those birds will all gravitate to the same areas, thus the mosquitoes will gravitate to the same areas, and that's what, without intervention, allows the disease to amplify.
So as far as aerial spraying, we only do that based on public health need. I realize May, June, there are a lot of mosquitoes, and although I don't live in Farmers Branch, my city has the same issues Farmers Branch does. I'm sitting outside on the weekend, hanging out with my family. I'm swatting mosquitoes just like you are. But we're not going to spray just because there's a lot of mosquitoes. We're looking for a public health reason to spray, and that is based on West Nile. So in those cases when we test positive, one of the traps around town tests positive, then we spray the area that's correlated or associated with that particular trap.
What we do is what we call ULV fogging. It's ultra low volume fogging. So we're not actually using that much product per volume. It's extremely low, thus the name. But what we're doing is trying to get as much coverage as possible from our machine in the backs of our trucks to take the populations down as efficiently as possible by driving the streets, or in a special application we might be in a utility vehicle like an ATV in creek beds or along larger right-of-ways off-road. Just best to stay inside. We're going to come through in a flash. The truck's going to come by, it's going to be fogging, it's going to pass, and within a number of minutes you would never detect that anybody was ever there. It's pinpointed to affect an animal the size of a mosquito or smaller. So, in terms of real danger, it's the mosquitoes that we're after.
We will treat based on if it's readily available from the right of way. So we're not going to walk into someone's private property and on there and treat. That's the homeowner's responsibility or the property owner. We make available to the residents dumps at City Hall and I think also at the rec center. So you can come up and get some dunks. It's a free way to treat. We make that readily available, no charge to the residents. They can pick those up and do their self-treatment. There are also, of course, commercially available ways to treat mosquitoes at Home Depot or Lowe's. So we do, when you call us, we'll go out and look, and anything we see that we can treat, we will treat also. The same method we make available to the public.
Now keep in mind that mosquitoes can breed in as little as a tablespoon of water. That's why it's so important to be vigilant about any standing water around your house, including that in pet dishes, plant saucers, or even trash can lids. And for standing water that can't be emptied, try to remember to use those mosquito dunks. And when you're outside, wear long sleeves and long pants, wear repellent, and consider pesticides around your house if the bugs get worse. For FBTV, I'm Jeff Brady.